Hi, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Politics with Sherry Jacobus. If you're a subscriber, thank you. And if you're not a subscriber yet, I hope you'll become one. The big elephant in the room today, I guess, is RFK Jr. testifying to the Senate Finance Committee. If you weren't terrified before, you better be now. It is mystifying to the medical profession why he is in this position and why MAGA is now adopting these policies. I guess it's a test to see if they swallow anything. But as I've laid out here before, and as we've discussed, and I get a lot of feedback from you guys, is that this is part of the larger effort to literally kill off as many of us as possible. They want to kill off the vulnerable, the sick, the elderly, the disabled. And remember, Trump brags about his $156 billion in savings in Social Security during the pandemic because so many elderly people who were the most vulnerable, died of COVID. And therefore, if you're dead, you're not getting your Social Security checks. This is the plan. Believe me, the architects behind this disaster, they all understand that RFK Jr. is full of baloney. They understand that what he's promoting, what he's doing is deadly. It's what they want. And he's a useful tool. He's nuts. He's insane. He's evil. I mean, my God, look at this guy. The brain worms, the drug abuse, the swimming in poison, in toxic waters, the drinking of the raw milk, and on and on it goes. I mean, it's insane. And he's insane. The dead bear cub in Central Park. I mean, this is not okay. So he's there on purpose because they know that he will implement these policies, and they could be, just I guess a degree of separation from him. But this is the larger plan to kill us off, because then you don't have people using as much money in healthcare. This is the plan. This is the plan. Okay. They don't come right out and do a PowerPoint on it, but this supports everything we've laid out before. Our friend, Dr. Jeffrey Grammer, he's on Blue Sky and Twitter and Substack. He put a piece on, I posted this on my YouTube page here under posts, and I've been retweeting it. I mentioned him before. He's a decorated retired Army colonel, psychiatrist, and physician. And he just put out a piece laying out his entire education and training, years and years and years of this, and others like him, what they have to go through to be credible doctors and scientists. But he had an interesting take, because he not only addresses the crazy science of all of this and how horrible it is, how damaging, how deadly it is, but he talks about the psychology behind those supporting RFK Jr., the entire MAHA movement, Make America Healthy Again. And what Dr. Grammer writes, and I urge you to go read this and follow him, by the way. He says, established science and medicine that has taken literally thousands of years to develop through empirical study, a combination of trial and error back in the old days, tons and tons of well-trained scientists doing rigorous scientific trials that is now being supplanted by people who want to reject all that and bring in their own mystical method of thinking. And we've seen this a lot with MAGA in general. They just invent stuff. They ignore actual evidence. They invent stuff to the point where Trump can stand on Fifth Avenue and shoot someone and get away with it. He can pardon January 6 rioters. He can have a military funeral for Ashley Babbitt, who stormed our Capitol. They were in there to kill people. It was an insurrection. They wanted to hang Mike Pence. I mean, this was what was going on. And now these people are, going in as ICE agents. It's insane. And they're in the administration, but people are buying it. And I think this is why, as Dr. Grammer continues on, he says, he doesn't just talk about the science. He's talking about the psychology. Remember, this is a physician and psychologist. He says the psychology of those pushing the RFK Jr. MAHA movement, he says, and someone who does that, and someone who does that possesses this is part he writes, and someone who does that possesses a certain amount of anger, often precipitated by feeling maligned or marginalized by the establishment with which they're attacking. That is interesting. That means that the people who are purporting to just have a different opinion on science and medicine, a different opinion, a different take, are really doing it out of some sort of sick revenge and hatred against society. That's basically what this is. And this is a running theme throughout MAGA. Many MAGA have said that they don't care if Trump is caught, if there's actually evidence of him having illegal sex, we call it rape, with underage girls. Now, as I said before in this space, I think it's different if they actually see the video, but we hear the compromise is much worse than that. For them, they will put up with atrocities and lies and this kind of garbage that we're hearing about the MAHA movement. They know it's harmful. They know. But as long as Trump is hating and punishing and getting rid of the people they hate, they're okay with it. And sometimes I think it's even more oblique than that. Sometimes I think that it's just a case of they still think that this guy who poops in gold toilets is one of them. They're buying it all. It is a cult. It is this idolatry. And that's why it's the poorly educated that he loves, because these are the people who are the most vulnerable to this type of thinking, to the point where they absolutely don't care what he does as long as it's hurting other people. And as I've said before, once it starts affecting them, it's a whole different story. Like the many who voted for him but have been hauled off by ICE, or their family members have been, or when their Medicaid is cut, when their grocery prices haven't gone down and in fact are too high. The tariffs have hit and they're now paying high prices for tons of goods and services, tons of goods, products. So when it starts affecting them, but it's a little bit slower on the uptake because then sometimes they don't realize it. So Governor DeSantis of Florida has now, they're getting rid of all the vaccine mandates for school kids. So that means measles, chickenpox, all of it. All of it. So other parents better protect their kids from the kids that are going to be showing up sick and making everybody else sick. They are literally trying to create another pandemic of some sort, or a couple of different things, several different things happening to get rid of the most vulnerable among us. They want to cull the herd. And I think that they eventually will find a way to make it hit harder in communities of color. And you know I'm right about this. They will find a way to do it. Just as they're finding a way to make it harder to vote in communities of color if they vote heavily Democratic. Remember in 2020 how they were removing mailboxes from heavily Democratic neighborhoods? Lots of people of color voting there. This is the plan, and they have several different ways of making this happen. And right now, this MAHA movement, yes, many white MAGA people will die as a result, but ultimately I think it is to get people of color, the sickest, and to die, just like they're trying to get them to leave the country. This is what's happening. When you connect all the dots, you see that these are not all these disparate individual movements. There is a connective tissue between them. And right now, having this dangerous nutcase who testified the Senate Finance Committee today, RFK Jr., he is there as just one cog in the wheel of the overall plan. It is insane. He is insane. And it is insane that Republican senators actually voted to confirm this monster. We all know it. Anyway, I urge you to read Dr. Jeff Grammer's piece and share your thoughts with him and with me. But I don't have an answer for this, by the way, unless it's just getting rid of Trump and getting rid of MAGA. But I do think it's important to understand, again, as I said, this connective tissue between all these seemingly unrelated policies. But when you kind of look, if you accept the fact of who they're trying to get rid of, the most vulnerable among us and the poor, it makes sense, doesn't it? Anyway, hang on to your hats, folks.